Welcome to another episode of China Update, where I provide you guys with the most up-to-date political, economic and geostrategic analysis on the world's #2 economy. My name is Tony. Let's jump in. Okay, happy Tuesday everybody. Let's begin with a quick update to the ongoing rumours which claim that a coup has occurred in China, as well as the removal of General Secretary Xi Jinping. Most viewers remember that I already posted a special video over the weekend expressing my personal view that the rumours are highly unlikely to be true, but that if any strong evidence was presented, we could examine it. At the time, I said that the most likely explanation was that Xi Jinping is in a self-imposed quarantine because he just returned from Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, similar to how he was in quarantine during his trip to Hong Kong back in July. It seems like this coup rumor started when an exiled Chinese journalist made unsubstantiated claims on Twitter about mass flight cancellations because of unexplained reasons. This was soon after picked up by Falun Gong-backed media networks and some other popular overseas social media accounts. Videos of military convoys of unverified time and location added fuel to the speculative fire. She being out of the public eye, again, I would argue likely due to self-imposed quarantine, has given the rumours legs. We remember back in July, after she visited Hong Kong and disappeared from public view for quarantine, there were rumours on Twitter then that he was gravely ill. These rumours, of course, turned out to be false. Another 48 hours have passed since my Sunday video, and still no compelling evidence has been presented, and the government and party apparatus continues to operate in a manner suggesting that Xi is still very much the #1 man in the country. For example, over the weekend, the Theoretical Learning Center group of the Party Committee of the Ministry of Public Security held a lecture on the study of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. The party secretary and Minister of Public Security was in attendance for the event, and this is what was discussed, according to state media. Quote, "The public security authorities should firmly grasp the fundamental political requirements and master political construction, faithfully practice the general requirements of loyalty to the party, service to the people, impartiality in law enforcement, and strict discipline, always be firm and pure, and reassure the party, and ensure that at all times and under all circumstances they will resolutely follow the orders of General Secretary Xi Jinping and obey the command of the Party Central Committee." End quote. Like I said, if new evidence comes to light, we can examine it, but for now, I do not think we need to cover this rumor any further. Okay, now let's move into the other China stories. Today we will be discussing several important economic developments, and let's start with the Chinese currency. The Chinese yuan continues to slowly drop against the US dollar, but commentators have pointed out that it has been relatively stable against a broader basket of currencies. Last week the RMB was down 3.1% against the US dollar, but only down 0.5% against CFETS, a trade-weighted basket of currencies. Since the start of the year, the RMB is down 6.9% and 0.9% respectively. China's central bank is in a bit of a tricky situation. Policymakers do not want a weakening RMB because it could trigger destabilizing and frankly risky mass capital flight. On the other hand, if the RMB remains too strong relative to other currencies, then Chinese exports, one of the few healthy drivers of growth in the Chinese economy, will become less competitive in a global market already seeing softening demand. Policymakers appear to be trying to walk a middle road, slowing the decline against the US dollar, but not aggressively trying to prevent it. In trading on Monday, China's yuan ended at a 28-month low, with onshore trading ending at 7.15 per dollar, flirting with the lower end of the trading band. One trader at a foreign bank speaking to Hong Kong media expressed, quote, "The market is almost hitting the limit. end quote. Some industry specialists think the People's Bank of China could restore the counter-cyclical factor in its daily fixing formula, which it had between August 2018 and October 2020. This involves an adjustment to the mechanism for setting yuan's official value to prevent the currency from falling sharply. We also remember from yesterday that the central bank announced that it would raise the risk reserve requirement ratio for financial institutions when purchasing foreign exchange through currency forwards, a tool hoped to reduce speculative demand to 20% from zero, starting from Wednesday, tomorrow. Quote, "This will hit back at the yuan bears. More interventions could be rolled out, with offshore market liquidity the next possible target." End quote. China's goods surplus is on track to reach the highest ever in history at $1 trillion. Surely this will be enough to support a stronger yuan. Well, some analysts disagree. In a research note published late last week, currency strategists at Australian global financial services group Macquarie told clients that, quote, "Exporters have been reluctant to convert their foreign exchange back into yuan given the plunge in business sentiment this year," end quote, and may be betting on a further slide in the currency. However, even this outlook proved to be insufficiently bearish, as the report predicted a yuan decline to 7.15 against the greenback by the end of the year. But of course, it already slid to this point yesterday. Next up, Hong Kong. Hey guys, if you enjoyed today's episode of China Update, don't forget to hit the like button. And for anyone who likes what I'm doing here with China Update and wants to help me keep this channel sustainable, continue making episodes for you guys, Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee links are in the description below. This is one of the best ways you can help me continue making China Update. As always, everybody, thank you so much for the ongoing support. Domestic disruptions and cooling global demand have caused Hong Kong's exports to see their largest contraction since the beginning of the pandemic. According to official data published by the Hong Kong Census and Statistics Department, exports plunged 14.3% in August year on year, the biggest drop since January 2020, the fourth consecutive month of decline, and worse than the already pessimistic 10% drop anticipated by economists. Demand in some markets has simply fallen off a cliff. For example, exports to Japan dropped 24.7% in August, year on year, and very tellingly, exports to mainland China itself plunged almost 20%. Imports in August were worse, crashing 16.3%. While domestic and global demand hits have been hurting a Hong Kong managing political and economic credibility hits in recent years, there is some hope that perhaps now, with COVID restriction loosenings, things may finally start to improve in Q4, if only modestly. Though increased capital costs may be a wild card as interest rates continue to creep up in the special administrative region, like in many other regions and countries around the world. We will need to follow the territory carefully over the next few months. And finally, we have been following China's large new energy vehicles market for some time now. Yesterday, Monday, China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology and Ministry of Finance announced in a joint statement that Beijing is extending the exemption on 10% purchase taxes for new energy vehicles until the end of 2023, extending the long-running subsidy program for China's huge EV market for the third time. The subsidy, which was initially planned to terminate by the end of 2017, is now projected to cost the government $14 billion in 2023. Beijing has bet big on new energy vehicles, plowing billions of dollars in developer subsidies and purchase tax exemptions into the sector since 2014. In the hopes that China could become an early leader in the emerging industry. Taxpayer-funded low prices have helped make China the world's biggest market for electric vehicles. According to the China Association of Automobile Manufacturers, in the first 8 months of this year, new energy vehicle sales reached 3.8 million units, doubling 2021 sales. This is indeed a rare bright spot in China's demand story for the economy this year. International brands like Tesla and domestic makers like BYD and XPeng are ramping up domestic production, very bullish on the market. Much more bullish than Beijing, evidently, who still feels the need to subsidize the market. Okay, that is today's episode of China Update. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.